Story 1. I never believed in the astral. Not seriously. Meditation, lucid dreaming, sure. But astral projection? That was a kind of thing you read about in old occult books or saw in movies. I was wrong. It started innocuously. I was fascinated by consciousness, by the mind's ability to perceive what the eyes cannot. I had been reading accounts of people leaving their bodies, visiting distant places, even seeing future events. The skeptic in me dismissed them as imagination, but curiosity can be dangerous. I began meditating at night in my small apartment, candles flickered, incense burned, and I followed the exercises precisely. Deep breathing, visualization, chanting mantras. At first, nothing happened. My mind wandered. Sleep pulled at me. Then, on the third night, I felt it. A tingling in my spine, a vibration in my body, a sensation like I was being stretched from the inside. My heartbeat accelerated. I tried to calm myself, focusing on the mantra, and then I floated. At first, I panicked. I felt weightless, my body tethered by invisible threads. I could see my room from above. My own body lay on the floor, eyes closed, chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. It was incredible. Freedom. I moved toward the ceiling, through the walls, out into the night. The city stretched below me, lights glittering, unaware of my presence. I flew. I laughed silently. I felt powerful, immortal. On the fourth night, I tried to go further. I wanted to explore beyond the city. As I ascended, I felt a pull, a tug at the edges of my consciousness, a shadow in the corner of my vision. I turned. Nothing. But the sensation lingered. Watching, waiting, I ignored it foolishly. The fifth night, I left my apartment deliberately. I drifted over rooftops, streets, parks. The city was beautiful from above. And then I noticed a figure. A man, or something like a man, stood in the middle of a dark seat, not moving, not breathing. Blackness radiated from him. I approached, fascinated, drawn. His head turned, eyes like voids stared at me. I froze, and then I heard it. Not in my ears, but in my mind. You shouldn't be here. You will not return. I jerked back. My tether pulled violently. I awoke, gasping. My heart pounded. My body was drenched in sweat. After that night, I could not sleep. The projection called me. Every evening, I meditated, floating above the city, seeking the shadow. I felt its eyes on me, following, always just beyond reach. I began to notice changes. Objects in my apartment moved slightly when I wasn't looking. Shadows shifted unnaturally. I heard whispers. At first, soft, then words. My name, my sins, my fears. I began keeping a journal, each night's projection more intense. I traveled farther into forests, rivers, mountains. I saw distant countries, past events, and strangely, things that had not yet happened. It happened on a stormy night. I projected into a forest miles from my apartment. Rain fell around me, though I could feel nothing. Branches reached as if alive. And then I saw it, the shadow, emerging from the darkness. I tried to retreat. My body jerked violently. Pain, sharp, tearing at the mind and flesh, and I saw something worse. Another me, lying in the forest, staring at me with hollow eyes. Not real? No, real. My astral self, tethered, screaming silently. I awoke, screaming. My apartment door was ajar, though I was certain I locked it. My journal lay open, words I had not written scrawled across the pages. You belong to me now. Week passed. The shadow grew bolder. It began appearing even when I was awake, at the edges of my vision, in mirrors, in reflective surfaces. It whispered, always whispering. I tried to stop. I stopped meditating, burned the incense, locked my room from light, but at night I felt it, pulling at me, stretching, reaching. One night it touched me, not physically, but through my mind. I felt my consciousness split as though the shadow was entering my body, pushing, expanding. I fell unconscious. I awoke hours later in a strange place. Not my apartment, not my city, a vast void, black, infinite, filled with whispers. And the shadow was there, waiting. I tried to leave, to return to my body, but the tether was gone. My astral form, my body, it was no longer mine. The shadow had climbed it. I floated endlessly in the void, screaming, hearing the echoes of my own cries multiple a thousandfold. I saw others, lost souls, drawn like me, wandering, whispering, screaming. Some had bodies in the real world, others only memories, tethered to the void. I realized the truth. Astral projection is not travel, it is invitation. The shadow does not simply follow, it waits for you to step out of your body. And once you do, it can climb you. I write this from the void, somehow reaching back through the thin membrane of reality. You may find these words, you may not. But if you do listen, do not meditate alone. Do not seek the unknown. The shadow is patient, immortal, hungry. It knows your name, it knows your fears. If you project, it will wait. And once it touches you, once it climbs your consciousness, there is no return. My body still breathes somewhere, controlled by my shadow. My mind is gone, but my voice reaches you. Do not follow me. Do not float beyond your skin. Do not answer the call. There is nothing beyond. Only the shadow. Only whispers. Only endless darkness. And it waits for you. Story 2. I never slept the same way again after the first time. I was always curious about the mind, its limits, its possibilities. Sleep research, lucid dreaming, meditation. I had explored it all academically, scientifically. But astral projection? That was supposed to be a myth, superstition, something related to the old occult books and fevered nightmares. I proved myself wrong. It began with a seminar on lucid dreaming. The speaker, a thin, pale man with eyes too bright, talked about leaving the body, observing the world while your body slept. Most of the audience nodded politely, skeptical. I asked a question. Is it really possible to experience the world outside your body? He smiled, a thin, knowing smile. Possible. Perhaps. Safe. Never. I ignored the warning. That night, in my apartment, I meditated as he instructed. Deep breathing, counting heartbeats, focusing on the sensation of leaving the body. At first, nothing. Then the vibration began. My body felt heavy, yet my consciousness lifted. I floated above my bed, staring down at my own self. I was alive, breathing, and I was separate. It was intoxicating. I moved toward the window, then beyond it. The city spread below me, lights flickering like stars. I could see rooftops, streets, people, cars. I could hear thoughts, faint whispers of the living, the dying, the dreaming. At first, I laughed silently. Freedom, immortality. On the third night, I felt the pull again, stronger, deeper. I rose, moving. The city below faded, replaced by a corridor, endless, whitewashed, impossibly long. Lights overhead flickered. Doors lined the walls. Each was closed. I knew I was not alone. I turned a corner and saw her, a woman, pale, thin, dressed in a nightgown from another era. Her hair floated, though there was no wind. Her eyes were black, hollow. She smiled at me, not friendly, not human. Welcome, she whispered. You are awake now. I wanted to run. My body teetered in my apartment. Would have screamed. My mind tried to move, but I was frozen, paralyzed by the unnatural presence. The woman led me down the corridor. I wanted to resist, but I could not. Doors opened silently as we passed. Each room showed a scene, a man hanging from chains, screaming silently, children floating in darkness, eyes open but unseeing, bodies stitched together, twitching. This is the threshold, she said, where those who seek travel beyond themselves come, where reality falls. I tried to speak. My voice echoed strangely, distorted. I I want to go back. I managed. She shook her head. You left, and once left, the corridors climb you. They always do. I realized then that my body in the apartment was not safe. The theater that should have led me there was weakening. I could feel it fraying, threads of consciousness pulling into the corridor. If I did not return, I would be lost. I forced myself back, willed myself toward the familiar sensation of the body. The corridor resisted. Walls stretched, doors shifted. Shadows followed me, whispering names, fears, memories I had never spoken aloud. I woke gasping, sweat drenched, my heart pounding. My room seemed brighter, safer, but the feeling lingered. Something followed me from the corridor. The next nights I returned. I could not resist. Each time I floated farther, deeper. The corridor grew longer, darker. Shadows multiplied. Whispers became voices. I saw other travelers, men and women, wandering lost, screaming silently, pleading for release. And the shadow followed me, not always visible, but always present. I felt its weight on my mind, pressing. I began to see it in reflections, a dark figure, human shape, but wrong, mouth stretched impossibly wide, eyes voids. Your mind, it whispered. You belong here now. It touched me. Only a brush of thought, but it ripped through my mind. I saw a version of myself lying in a hospital bed, eyes wide, body twitching. My apartment disappeared, my possessions, my life, my memories, fragments of reality folded into the corner. I woke screaming. My roommate, who had been sleeping in the other room, stared at me silently. I could not explain what had happened. I had tried, but words failed me. I realized then astral projection is not merely leaving the body, it is invitation, and some entities answer. Over the following weeks, I noticed changes. Shadows in my apartment moved independently of light. Reflections in mirror lingered too long. Whispers called my name. I could feel the corridor pressing against my mind even when awake, even when I tried to meditate safely. I tried to stop, I tried to sleep normally, but the corridor waits. Every night it tugged, pulling me back. I saw other travelers, people I did not know, trapped here, screaming silently. Some were my neighbors, friends I had met casually. Some had vanished in reality. I understood. The corridor climbed them first in my mind, then body. One night I could not resist. I projected, and this time the corridor was longer than ever. Doors were infinite. Rooms showed impossible scenes, centuries passing in minutes, civilization rising and falling, horrors that could not exist in our world. and it spoke to me, not with words, but with thoughts, my fears, my regrets, my secrets. Every failure, every lie, every shame amplified. My mind screamed, but no sound came. You sought freedom, you sought knowledge, you belong here now. I tried to flee, but there was no direction. The corridor twisted, looping impossibly. Shadows multiplied, reaching, touching, pulling. I awoke. My apartment was dark. The feeling remained. I was not entirely alone. Something from the corridor had come back. I am trapped between worlds now. My body breathes, my heart beats, but my mind is never fully here. The corridor calls me every night. The shadow watches, always patient, always hungry. I have seen travelers who try to fight, to resist, most disappear entirely. Some remain as echoes, whispering warnings I cannot fully hear. I write this as a warning. If you attempt astral projection, beware. There is no returning. The corridor waits. It knows your name, it knows your thoughts, it knows your fears. If you project, it will climb you. And one day, it will reach out through the thin veil to welcome you. Do not follow me. Do not leave your body. The corridor is endless and it never forgets. Story 3. I never believed in leaving my body. Not seriously. Meditation, lucid dreaming, I had done it all, academically, for curiosity. But astral projection, that was superstition, nonsense, something for occult books. I was wrong. It started innocuously. I discovered an old book at a flea market titled The Paths Beyond. The pages were yellow, handwritten in cramped script, diagrams of human bodies, energy lines, and instructions for leaving the physical form. I laughed. Why not? I said aloud, alone in my apartment. That night, I meditated. Candles flickered. I focused on my heartbeat, inhaling slowly, exhaling, imagining my consciousness rising from my body. At first, nothing happened. Then, I felt a vibration in my spine, low, humming, growing, stronger. My body felt weightless. My head lifted. I was outside my body. The sensation was incredible. I could see myself lying on the floor, chest rising, eyes closed. I floated toward the ceiling, then out through the walls. The city spread below me, lights glittering, oblivious. I moved through streets, over rooftops, freedom, immortality, power, and then I noticed the shadow. At first, I thought it was fatigue, imagination, a flicker at the edge of my vision. But it followed me, never moving directly, never approaching, but always watching. I returned to my body abruptly, panting, heart racing. The next night, I meditated again. The vibration returned, stronger. I felt my body effortlessly this time. I wanted to go farther, see more. The city vanished. I drifted into darkness. The corridor appeared, endless, whitewashed, glowing faintly. Doors lined the walls. Each seemed to hum, like it had a purpose. From a doorway, a figure emerged. Not solid, not human. Eyes black voids, thin, elongated limbs. Its mouth stretched impossibly wide. You shouldn't be here, it whispered in my mind. You will not return. I tried to retreat. The corridor stretched, folding impossibly. The figure followed, always just beyond reach. I awoke, screaming. After that, I could not resist. Each night I projected, searching drawn to the corridor. It called me. Each time the shadow came closer. The whispers began names, fears, memories I had never spoken aloud. I began to see other travelers, men, women, children lost in the corridor, wandering endlessly, screaming silently, trapped between worlds. I realized the truth. The shadow did not simply follow, it waited, it learned, it could manipulate the corridor, twist the reality of the astral, feed on fear. On the fifth night, I entered the corridor and tried to move past it. It reached me, not physically, but mentally. A sensation like ice water poured into my spine, pain, electric, overwhelming. My mind fractured. I saw a vision. My body in the apartment, convulsing, eyes wide, mouth moving silently. The shadow had touched me. Part of me was gone. I awoke hours later, trembling, drenched in sweat. My journal lay open. I had not written in it. Its pages were filled with drawings, spirals, faces, symbols. The shadow was not content to wait. It was coming. Over the next weeks, I could not sleep without feeling its presence. Shadows moved in my apartment independently of light. Mirrors reflected something slightly off my face, but raw. Mouth stretched, eyes blackened. The whispers followed me even away. My name, my secrets, my sins. I tried to stop. I avoided meditation. I slept in light. It didn't matter. The corridor called. The shadow pulled. One night I could not resist. I projected. Desperate, reckless. I entered the corridor. Doors multiplied infinitely. Rooms showed multiple, impossible horrors. Centuries passing in minutes, cities rising and falling, carnage that could not exist in the waking world. And the shadow was there, always, watching, pressing, feeding. I saw other travelers, souls trapped, screaming silently, pleading for release. Some familiar, some unknown, all lost. You sought freedom, you sought knowledge. You belong here now. I tried to run, the corridor twisted, folding in on itself. Shadows stretched, hands reaching, clawing, pulling at my mind. I screamed silently. My voice was not my own. My thoughts were no longer my own. Time stopped, or perhaps I stopped. Days, weeks, months, I don't know. I saw versions of myself dead, hollow eyed, screaming silently. Some angry, some terrified, all reaching for me, trapped in the same endless corridor. The shadow whispered constantly, "You are mine. You cannot return. You cannot leave." I tried to anchor myself to my body, to feel reality, but the tether weakened each night. I felt it fray, threads of consciousness pulled into the corridor. My body, my life, my world, all slipping away. I'm trapped between the worlds now. My body breathes, my heart beats, but my mind is never fully present. The corridor waits every night, the shadow watches, patient, hungry. I have seen other travelers lost for years, drifting, screaming silently, becoming part of the corridor. I understand now. Astral projection is not travel, it is invitation, and some things answer. I write this now, somehow reaching back through the thin membrane of reality. If you find these words, heed them. Do not meditate alone. Do not seek the unknown. The shadow is patient, immortal, hungry. It knows your name, it knows your thoughts, it knows your fears. If you project, it will wait. And once it touches you, there is no return. I hear it calling me even now. My voice is reaching you through the volume. Do not follow me. Do not leave your body. The corridor is endless and it never forgets. I'm here, trapped, waiting, watching, and one day it will reach out to you.